Hey, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
We are the co-hosts of
Woke and Free.
Thank you for tuning in to our 78th episode of Woke and Free. If you've been tuning in every week for Woke and Free Wednesday, you know that Woke and Free is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything that's important to us, to you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week we're talking all about whether the devil is real. But before we get really real with y'all, have a couple of questions and ground rules to cover. First, have you subscribed to Woke and Free on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or by email? If not, please go to WokeNFree.com and subscribe away. Next, have you shared an episode with friends or family? If not, y'all know talking about the devil is really interesting. Let's get to it. Share this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. If you haven't hollered at us on social media and you have a question or you just want to engage, feel free to find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even YouTube at Woke and Free. And then lastly, if you haven't reviewed our show, please do so on any platform of choice. Again, go to WokeNFree.com. You can review us on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any of the platforms you'll see. Again, all available on WokeNFree.com.
Each week we like to share a little bit about us before we dive into the topic for the episode. Last week we shared whether you rather hear the good news or bad news first. This week we're sharing, if you had a chance to end all wars at the cost of your life, would you take it?
Super dramatic clue. Okay.
Yeah, goes with the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've discussed this before. I mean, at the end of the day, personally, I appreciate being alive and I appreciate every moment and breath that, the good Lord gives me. But I ultimately know that we all are a part of a bigger microcosm of life. So if my end is for the benefit of humanity, absolutely, I'm 100% on board with that, because I think that human sacrifice is just, it's my physical playing, but my spirit of Natasha would still go on. So if the death of my physical body was needed, hopefully not so, but if so, I would gladly give my life for the continuation of man.
Oh, wow, that's very, courageous of you.
And your answer is?
My answer is no. I would not do it.
You're so trifling.
Because I don't think that's the worst thing that humanity has. I don't think that's the worst. If it was stop violence against others, maybe I would do it. But for just wars, I don't think that's our worst issue. I think it's a problem, but I think there's other issues that are going on, and to me, that's not a big enough thing for me to give up my life for.
Oh, okay.
I mean, give that up.
War is symptomatic of other things,
it's
right?
Not
so
great.
I think that ultimately the fact that we wage war on each other is a long tradition that needs to come to an end, because it doesn't result in positivity. It usually ends in more loss of life. It ends in trauma, in degradation, in loss of establishment. So, I think that it's something that the future man, if we're not capable of it, hopefully 200, 300, 400 years from now, I hope man is still not doing something they've been doing since biblical times, which we currently are.
Before biblical times.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we got to jump into the topic, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll ask you, is the devil real?
Ooh, okay, so history.com goes in, guys. All links and research that we share on the episode, you can find on WokeNFree.com. So let's get to it. History.com first lets everybody know the devil, aka Satan, is best known as the nemesis of good people everywhere. His image and story has evolved over the years, but this malevolent being and his legion of demons continue to strike fear in people from all walks of life as the antithesis of all things good. Super dramatic who wrote this on history.com. Loving it. Yeah. They go way back in talking about the biblical reference. So they've commonly thought that the devil first showed up in the Bible in the book of Genesis as the serpent who convinced Eve, who then convinced Adam to eat the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden, which, what happens there. It kind of created the damnation of man. And then many Christians believe the devil was once a beautiful angel named Lucifer who defied God and fell from grace. This assumption is often based on the book of Isaiah in the Bible, which says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" Names for the devil include, other than Lucifer, Prince of Darkness, Beelzebub. I never know how to say that. How do you say Beelzebub? I can't say that.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Beelzebub
or something like that. Mephistopheles.
Oh, that's from the Greeks, right?
Yeah.
Mephistopheles?
There we go.
Mephistopheles.
Yeah. Lord of the Flies, which is a phenomenal book. The Antichrist, Father of Lies.
Oh, yes.
Moloch, or simply Satan.
Moloch, yep.
Yeah.
That was in a book.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
the book of Ezekiel includes another biblical passage where Christians refer to as proof of the devil's existence. It admonishes the greedy king of Tyre, but also refers to the king as Cherub, who was once in the Garden of Eden. As a result, some biblical translators believe the king of Tyre was a personification of the devil. Then there is reference.
What does that have to do with the proof of the devil's existence? That's pretty. That's a thinly veiled truth, right? There's not much holding the saying that's the proof of existence.
There's also reference to the devil in other religions. In Islam, the devil is known as Shaitan, and the devil in Christianity is also thought to have rebelled against God. In Judaism, Satan is a verb and generally refers to a difficulty or temptation to overcome instead of literal being. In Buddhism, Marar is the demon that tempted Buddha away from his path of enlightenment, and like Christianity's Jesus resisted the devil, Buddha also resisted temptation and defeated Marar. And people of almost any religion, or even those who don't follow religion, the devil is almost always synonymous with fear, punishment, negativity, and immorality. And then the history.com goes well into kind of talking about how the devil's been portrayed from a historical perspective. So if y'all remember the idea that devil governs hell may have come from the poem Dante Alighieri.
Dante's Inferno?
Dante Alighieri, the Divine Comedy, published in the early 14th century. In it, God created hell when he threw the devil and his demons out of heaven. With such power, they created an enormous hole in the center of the earth. In the poem, Dante portrayed the devil as a grotesque winged creature with 3 faces, each chewing on a devious sinner, whose wings blow freezing cold winds throughout the hell's domain. Then there's also reference on the site to kind of the connection between the devil and witchcraft, right, from the Salem witch trials, and that's also been portrayed in like media and films and all of that good stuff, and it goes on and on and on. Ultimately, there's also no shortage of Hollywood films that also include featuring the devil. He's been played by some of Hollywood's elite, such as Jack Nicholson, Vincent Price, and Al Pacino. And after Mia Farrow's character gave birth to Satan's offspring in the horror flick Rosemary's Baby, phenomenal film, expectant mothers who saw the film wish they hadn't. There's a lot there.
So the expectant mothers, they gave birth to Satan's spawn too? Because they wish they hadn't done it? They're like, oh, I shouldn't have gave birth to the spawn of Satan.
You remember that scene with the hand coming, the crazy
why did expectant mothers think they gave birth to Satan's child? I don't get that.
No, not that the expected mothers thought they gave birth to Satan's child. They just wish they probably hadn't seen the movie because it was super creepy.
They wish they hadn't seen the movie.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, that's better because that
kind
of
along, sir.
No, that's not a follow along. You can take that in many different ways. It's too open ended. It said expectant. You were saying expectant mothers
who saw the film wish they hadn't seen the film.
But you just mentioned that Mia Farrow's character gave birth to Satan's offspring in the horror flick.
You're just misinterpreting.
You can take it as either part. You don't have to take it as the previous.
Those are quote unquote. I guess, deductions as to whether or not the devil exists. What are your thoughts?
Well, I actually found words from this website, uscatholic.org, and they describe the devil. What they say is, the most popular explanation of Satan maintains that he is a fallen angel tempted by pride. He is said to be a seducer originally created as good, and whose rebellion against the divine will is reflected in the temptation that he offered to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Like you were saying, he was the serpent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And according to the Catholic World Report, actually, new research data published by the Center for Research on the, I think, apostolate at Georgetown University reveals that what I found interesting is Catholics are among the least likely to agree that Satan is actually a living being. A recent survey of 1,495 U.S. adults who believe in God reveals that evangelical Christians are nearly 3 times more likely than Catholics to believe that Satan is a living being. 55% of evangelical Christians interviewed view Satan as an active and cunning adversary as described in the New Testament. So
of the Bible. Yep.
Yeah, and that's from the Bible. So it looks like people are kind of a split now on if the devil is actually a real being or if it's just a description of evil and the power of evil. That's what it looked like from my findings, and even Catholics aren't too sure about it. Actually,
yeah, I mean, similar to God has not been definitively proven, right? The devil is not definitively proven either. I mean, one lends to the other, so.
But in this case, what's interesting is that I mean, we haven't done that. I don't know if we talked about that on the episode, but if you're a Christian, you believe in a God.
If you're religious,
but you might not believe in
mathematically or scientifically. It hasn't been proved. But yeah, but under your faith, of course, you believe in God. Yeah,
but you don't necessarily believe in the devil under your faith. That's what it was found.
Well, now that's interesting because
that's what that research is saying.
Christianity dictates that the devil exists through God. So through the religious.
But some people say that's what they're trying to show is that some people interpret. Yeah, it's a symbolism. It's not taking not taking the word so literal.
That's a dicey road because then you can apply that viewpoint to anything else in the Bible. So
exactly.
It's like,
that's why some. Well, later on I'll get into people that disagree with that, but yeah, that's one of the interesting finds. If you say, all right, this part of the Bible is actually
this is symbolism,
real events,
this
isn't. You got to figure out which is what.
You're taking what you want, what you don't want, which I personally am a fan of doing.
Well, guess why you have to do it?
But that's because I'm not a traditional Christian-ish person.
If you don't read the Bible in its original tongue, what are you saying? Because you're just going by somebody else's interpretation.
Everything, the entire Bible is an interpretation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, if you don't know how to read that original language, you're just hoping that somebody translated it right, because some of the translations don't flow over well, and we see that even today.
Yeah,
even absolutely. Google Translate isn't infallible.
Exactly. So why do you think ultimately, for the people who do believe in the devil, why are they continuing to do so in 2019?
I really think it comes down to religion. It's the thing that teaches this mythical figure. You were describing that on history.com. All the religions have their one supreme being or whatever, and then they have the devil as like the exact opposite of them, kind of like it's like a yin and yang kind of thing. And then Pope Francis actually calls the devil the prince of this world, and like you were saying, the father of lies. And I think the existence of him is really just spread by word of mouth. I don't think it's like an innate thing that humans just came up with. I think somebody kind of came up with this idea and then started spreading it and developing it into what it is today. But I don't think it's like a natural occurrence that people just say, you know what? There's this demon that's just making me do bad stuff. I don't think that actually. I don't think that's the reason that people believe. I think it's just religion and society pushing that on people.
Gotcha. Well, Psychology Today kind of breaks it down. The article on Psychology Today is super funny. It's written by someone who's like obviously anti the existence of the devil and really thinks it's like ludicrous. So I felt it was a bit biased in its tone, but nonetheless, I thought it was interesting how the author broke down categories of why people are believing in the devil. One, socialization, what you spoke to. People are taught to believe this. This isn't something you're born and you're like, the devil, yes, applesauce. Like, no,
it's not like you saw him.
It's
not like, I saw the devil just yesterday in my backyard.
Right around the bodega, like, no,
he was in the backyard.
He didn't make your cheese sandwich, so this is definitely something you're socialized into by your parents or family members, and it takes force because the idea is quite a shocking, traumatic concept. So once it's there and you kind of take that nugget and you go with it, then it stays with you unless unless you actively defy it. Next, group membership. So again, you mentioned this as well, religion. If you are part of a religious group, whether Christian or Islam or Buddhist or Judaism, the devil, regardless of the different names and tones, see the idea of negativity, the idea of the dictator of lies is kind of a
father
concept.
Of lies.
Yeah, is a concept that, interestingly enough, has made its way in different religious groups. So interesting. Great minds think alike, or many people are fooled. I don't know. But that is one reason. Another is psychological comfort, which is I thought that was to be fascinating. So the article says,
Really?
when one's child dies from leukemia, or one's parents are killed in a tsunami, or a little girl is abducted from her home and raped to death by a drifter, the pain of such realities can be simply too much to bear. We need to think that these things aren't senseless and random, but the work of some powerful being who simply enjoys causing misery. Now, why God would allow these fiendish beings to live and thrive is hard to fathom, but hey, any explanation, no matter how fanciful, is better than no explanation.
Well, Drake says it. God's plan.
Okay, sorry.
God's plan.
Okay.
I don't know the lyrics to it. I don't know God plans.
So then maybe you shouldn't bring up the song if you're not sure if contextually that makes any sense. Because I don't believe that makes any sense.
But at least people who know the song, they'll get it. They'll be like, oh, I see. It's God's plan.
No. I don't. I think he's talking about something different here.
Oh, no.
You're quite confused. There's that. And then the existential angst. So most people like to watch a movie where there's an easily identifiable good guy and bad guy. Such a plot is easy to follow, easy to hang on to. You know where you stand. But movies in which characters are morally ambiguous or questionable, and no one is all good or all bad, and drama is about multiple parties having agendas which are not evil but merely in conflict, and ending isn't always happy. Well, these movies may do well at Sundance, but they don't do well with the general public, because why? People want to see the good versus the bad, and they don't like ambiguity. They don't like the mixing of such. So ultimately, my personal belief system, I think the number one with a bullet definitely goes to the idea that the blame game, like what I was mentioning before, that people can't stand the idea that contrast is a part of life. It's a healthy part of life. It can be very devastating, right? The loss of a parent, the abuse of children, war, all of these plagues, disease, famine. These are horrible things. But on the flip side, we also have a lot of amazing things happening. So to have sunshine, you have to put up with the rain. Is the rain brought by the devil? No, there's actual reasons why we have rain. But I think people need to blame an entity.
They need a specific thing that
same
they can
thing,
call
right?
out.
Something goes well, you win $1 million. Thank you, God. Oh, you lose your home. Damn you, devil. Right? We just humans are we're just too simple.
Attribute it to a being of some sort.
We just need the blame game, and so the devil is just kind of the linchpin for anything bad in life.
Well, on that note, do you personally believe in the devil?
As a child, yes, because I was definitely in category 1 that I mentioned, that in my family, I have several family members that are extremely religious. I have multiple family members that are ministers. I was raised with a Christian viewpoint that I have since defied and kind of turned its ideas on its head to make sense for me. But do I believe in evil? Yes. Do I think evil is a manifestation of a deity? No. I think evil lives within all of us. I think good also lives within all of us. And yes, that might not do well in the general public view, but it's a reality, right? Do we all think good things and not think any bad things? No, we think good and bad all day, every day, which means that we are good and bad. And it's a constant battle between us, right? The kind of the image is an angel on your one shoulder, a devil on the other. So...
But can people really be that bad? There's got to be some person or thing behind it. There's got to be something that's making people do this.
I think it's
people aren't that evil, right?
No, we've had explanations, right? Someone like Hitler who could exist in this world obviously is proof that people can give in. You're just giving into your dark side.
That wasn't the devil.
No, you gave into your dark side and you never let go. And I don't think that stemmed from the devil. I think that stemmed from selfishness. And people enjoy to be bad, right? People enjoy murdering. People enjoy stealing. People enjoy that crap. So I think that the devil is really negativity, and it's just, I think when some people have massive amounts of negativity in their soul, it's because they're more broken, there's more trauma, and or they're mentally ill, and they don't know any better, and they can't help themselves. But no, there's no deity, there's no red three-faced demon with wings sitting down, smiling, waiting to eat us alive. No.
You are listening to Woke and Free.
Woke and Free.
Woke and Free.
Woke and Free.
A podcast that keeps it real and honest.
You mentioned that one description of devil with his wings like blowing
Yeah.
super cold air.
Yeah.
I love how hell can be either super cold or super hot. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make sense to
I
me.
grew up with it thinking it was burning flames.
Yeah, I thought it
and
was
that's
always
how
this pool of lava,
Yeah,
like the center of the earth, kind of.
Kind of like
It seemed more sense.
in Constantine, how they showed devil. Like, if hell was to exist, what they showed in Constantine to me
Well, yeah, it made more sense. But that was weird, the whole thing about him blowing cold wind
air,
around, and it was a cold place. But
you know, cold.
See, that's so
I
strange.
Told you, I hate the cold. It
Very
makes me feel
strange.
very unsafe.
now, I say, no, the devil definitely doesn't exist. And it's just on a simple fact, there's no evidence of his existence. It just appears to be a fairy tale passed down through generations, just to invoke fear and then used to control people. That's what I feel it is. It's a fear-mongering device. The devil, he's gonna do this. He's gonna get you. It's like the boogeyman. You know, you're told those scary tales. I think he's a good device as that. Yeah, he's great to go with all those things that we learn as a child that they might get us. But as a realistically, it doesn't make sense. There's nothing that proves his existence. Nothing has happened where it's like there needed to be a stronger force behind it.
Is that your only reason for not believing in it?
Yeah, there's no evidence. If there was something to prove that he could exist, then I'd go for it. Because remember, I like to go.
So you don't even believe in the possibility of it, just because it's not proven. You're saying just you don't.
I don't think the world. I don't think the universe calls for that. There's nothing
You don't
that
think
points
there's a
to
need
it.
for it, so
Yeah,
thus it
there's no
can't
need
exist.
for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
everything in this universe is here for a reason. The devil's existence wouldn't make any sense. It's not needed.
Well.
You're
I mean,
saying
do
that,
you
well,
believe
what?
in-
We
oh,
already
you
have
don't
the power
believe
to do
in
whatever.
You don't believe in demons, right?
No, I don't believe in
demons.
demons. That's something else we'd have to talk about.
He would be
demons.
the underlord of demons.
No, I don't believe in demons.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't believe in that.
Well, yeah, then that makes logical sense. Then.
Yeah, so for me, I can't. It's just hard to fathom how a devil could exist. It makes no sense to me.
Okay.
And of course, stemming from my belief of no deity, god deity figure, I'm not going to believe in the devil as well.
Makes sense.
What is the common perception of the devil?
So you kind of talked about it a little bit before. Psychology Today, again, they are a phenomenal resource. Shout out to them. They refer to a 2013 YouGov survey where it said 57% of Americans believed in the devil. And the author wrote, yes, that's 57% of American adults, not kindergartners.
That's good to know.
Snarky.
It's not children thinking this.
But I mean, ultimately, that is, that's a lot of people actually. And the article also refers to saying that actually top neurosurgeons and Supreme Court justices believed in the devil, and millions upon millions of other well-educated, upstanding men and women too.
Upstanding.
So
that's key to point out.
You know, again, I think it's more than I thought. I would have thought. Well, actually, no,
really?
because
it's less than I thought. I didn't know it was dwindling so much.
Okay.
To me, like just from the research I've seen, it's like half and half. So Christians are now beginning to doubt the devil. When I was younger, nobody would ever, like, that never even came into question that the devil didn't exist.
But we haven't learned as much. Like, they needed to learn more as, like, from when we were kids. Like, people have, like, progressed a bit more.
Oh, well, yeah, I'd say
from
there's
the
a lot
80s,
of,
yeah.
you know what happened? Guess what happened? The internet happened. It was like,
Indeed.
And now that spread
Well,
knowledge far and wide.
That's a question. Like, but maybe that's the devil. I mean, if the devil did exist, that would be his greatest trick. Yeah, that he's tricking
I saw
people
that
not
too.
to believing him.
I saw
that.
Because
you would think if the devil really exists, wouldn't he have his own YouTube channel? Like, wouldn't he just possess a bunch of people at once?
So if the devil is a very methodical being, what it would do is say, "I don't exist," and then work in the background and control you without you knowing. Because then you can do even more. Because now people don't even think you're real. So that would be the one way to go with that. That's what some people put on on these certain websites that have no proof or anything, or just are talking right off the top of their head, not doing research on psychology or anything. But those sites brought that up, and that's my issue with them. That's why I can't take them as valid, because they're just based on conjecture.
Gotcha.
They're pure just somebody's opinions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What is the impact of believing in the devil?
So on Seeker.com, it goes through some interesting information. I'll just share a bit. So researchers have found that a person's views about the nature of evil and the role of evil impact other behaviors and beliefs. For instance, beliefs about Satan were a strong predictor of participation in social movements, rallies, petitions, pickets, and membership associated with moral majority. More recently, strong views of religious evil have been found to be associated with intolerance of homosexuality. Belief in literal Satan also plays an important role in Christian eschatology, the study of end of days prophecies. Those who believe that the end of times are upon us have been especially popular. And people who still believe in the devil because there's a need for him to exist, he still plays an important role in many people's belief system and even daily lives. For example, writer and Christian apologist C.S. Lewis, in his 1942 book,
he's a Christian apologist.
the Screw Tape Letters,
That's
wrote,
great.
There were two equal and opposite errors into which our race can fall about the devils. One is to disbelieve in their existence. The other is to believe and to feel an excessive and unhealthy interest in them. They themselves are equally pleased by both errors. Interesting. So ultimately, I think what it does is it has an effect on, I think, maybe the level of fear that you have in your life. I think it also, depending upon how far you take it, right? Like, so how I grew up was that you wanted to be a good person because, it felt good to be good, but AKA you didn't want to go to hell where you would thus meet Satan. So, I think, does it lead people to try to be a bit better and maybe not steal the candy and maybe, pay the bills and not con more people? Maybe. I don't know if there's enough research or enough information collected on this, but it would extend is, but it doesn't. It proves.
Yeah, I'll let you know what I found on this one, which I believe.
Ultimately, I think it just plays a role in your mindset and maybe, can trickle down into certain behaviors. But that's what I think.
Now, I just thought the belief in a devil or pure evil. Actually, you know what? This is after what I found. So I found the information in Scientific American. I didn't just come up with this on my own, but the belief in the devil or pure evil can actually lead people to believing that individuals can be actually born evil and not able to change. So people that believe in the devil will say, oh, that person, they're wrong. They can never be changed. They should be eliminated from this planet. That's how people's thought process goes with people that were believing in the devil. And they're saying also that the belief in the devil can lead to aggression and even antisocial behaviors. So that belief in the devil is not just, it doesn't just stand on its own, but they in their study, they found that people with that belief actually treated others that may have done bad stuff. They treat them as like pure evil as well. It's kind of, I guess they think people are kind of like possessed by the devil and the earth would do better without them.
Interesting.
So they think you can't be redeemed, meaning that even, people that commit small crimes, by some of these people, they probably think they're evil and, hey, we should get rid of them. They shouldn't be part of society. They're going to ruin this. They're going to do that. And they're very prejudiced and don't show any kind of compassion. So to me, that makes me think that the belief in the devil can lead to a worse person. It can actually ruin you morally.
Well, yeah, I mean, it might make you a little bit more closed-minded because you're going to view other humans as, and to be anti-homophobic.
Yeah, it lays the homophobic beliefs, too. See?
Shame on you. Everyone's allowed to love whoever they want.
It's a very rocky ground to stand on there.
But that's a lot. That it's logical because you're like, this is the devil is the leader of evil, right? So if people execute evil, then they're a part of his plan.
Yeah, it makes you think that people can join his legion, basically.
It's like very cult-like. It's you gotta think outside of the box, guys, and really think, is this logical? Because again, are you
That's
then
tough,
when we have good things happening, are we, what are we doing? Like, where do you stand? Because when good people commit error, do they what? They then signed their allegiance to the devil? I mean, what are we I think it's just
well, yes, it could go either way.
If you
believe in the devil, they could say, "Yup, you got caught up with pure evil, so you're pure evil."
I mean,
that's what this proves.
No.
Look at that person who did the crime. They're just an evil person. There's no redeeming them.
People make mistakes. It's not, satanic.
Even someone who's committed murder. even some murderers. We don't know why that murder was committed. We don't know any of the things behind it. But we can't just say that person is pure, raw evil. That's not true. People are people. We do bad things. We do good things.
I think there's some people who are are more evil than others. Yeah, like I said, when you have dictators, when you have Hitler, when you have people who have, or Stalin, people who've done atrocious crimes in this world, then you have to question, you know, how the good vary to the evil, right? Like,
we could see that the good really wasn't
seemed
a lot.
A bit more predominant in that person. Is there some good?
There could have been a brain defect,
but yeah, it could be.
We don't know what it was.
There could be some reason why
we're not far enough along medically.
Into their wrong side of their personality than their good side, but
yeah, we haven't progressed so far medically that we can say for sure that there's that wasn't attributed to some biological malfunction. There's no way we can say that. So there might be a actual reason for that, like a real pure based in nature
there could
reason.
Be a biological reason why they're acting crazy.
Yeah, there could be a reason. It doesn't have to be it's this super mysterious force who makes them be evil and execute his manipulative plans.
I think The Exorcist is really happening. I mean, we'll talk about it on another episode because demons is a whole. I mean, our culture is obsessed with demon movies.
But then you gotta wonder, if we talk about demons, do we talk about angels?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Give me strength and give me glory, God.
That's what you gotta wonder.
How different would our world be if people didn't believe in the devil then?
Like I was saying before, probably less aggression and less of this aggression even towards criminals. And then I think people would probably believe that even the harshest of criminals can be saved. Maybe there'd be less people in prison. People would be rehabilitated, maybe put into certain institutes like hospitals where they actually do try to bring people back into society. I think that would happen. Because right now, many prisoners are looked at like less than human, and I think believing in the devil or pure evil makes it easy to justify this treatment of them.
It's like throwaway people, yeah.
Because I think it's probably stemmed though from this whole devil belief. Because they probably, but even all other religions have the belief in devil too. Course, yeah. So even them, they can see it like
but we're predominantly
that's
Christian
the devil.
In this country.
Yeah, they could say this is the devil's doing of these people in prison.
God, yeah.
The devil made them do it and made them this evil, so we have to put them in prison away from God's children.
Of course.
They're not really God's children. Like, see,
and all
that gets
interesting
with
need to
how
be treated
some
with a
people
level
would say.
of respect. Even if someone is heinous, we still need to treat each other with respect because, we are not the arbiters of justice as much as we want to be, and we do under our government.
We do
at
that
the end of the day,
so much. We're judges.
At the end of the day, we all will be judged one way or another. So, just keep that in mind.
So says you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes.
So says you, ma'am.
Will be judged.
Everyone you think so?
Is. Everyone
that
is
interesting, ma'am.
I'm not saying judged in the sense of like you go to heaven, you go to hell. I'm just saying that at the end of our books, we all are. If our life is a book, we all come. It all has one conclusion, one or the other. And is that book read by others? Is that book assessed by others? That I can't speak to. I'm not. I don't know enough.
All right.
But my answer essentially is. If we all didn't believe in the devil, it would totally shift human beings' mindset on reality, right? Because I think the number one driving force is the blame game. And so if there is no one to blame all the evil in the world, we would have to kind of confront that part of our minds and then figure out how to make sense of evil and good and maybe not even use those terminology, right? And maybe see it as ... contrast, because it's not necessarily good or bad. There are bad actions and bad actors, but ultimately, is it necessary? Is evil necessary? That could be another episode.
Yeah, good question. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Zachariah is an orphan looking for some food to end his hunger pang. As he walks by a local fruit stand, he takes a delicious-looking red apple and hides in an alleyway where he sees a mangly dog that whimpers at him. He looks around and then gives the apple to the dog. Did the devil provoke Zachariah to steal the apple, which he eventually gave to an animal in greater need?
What kind of sad question is this, Khalil? You're like breaking my heart. I have to go give money now to both starving children somewhere, and animals starving.
Yeah, but the animal, needed it more, gosh.
Man. Poor Pooch. Oh man, no, Satan was not involved in this scenario. This was a child who was hungry. Which how many children are currently going hungry at this moment as we speak? And
in this country, though,
I know,
too,
it's
which
sickening.
is crazy.
It's sick how much opulence
You would think it'd
there
be
is,
zero, but
and
it's
how
not.
much hunger and
It's actually not
and
zero.
poverty there also is. It's America. We can do better. That's all I'll say, y'all.
You're not
We
going to
can
say
do
the phrase
better.
then. You're not going to say the red hat phrase.
Oh, make America great again? Yeah, you can only make America great again when it was great the first time.
But all right, but the one question,
but
this is off topic, but
Yeah.
yet there's never been a time where all children of America have been fed.
Was there
That's
a
never
time
happened.
when everyone had food and resources? I don't think
No,
so.
that hasn't happened.
You know, because I don't know, we came here and destroyed other people to build America, but okay, just saying.
But that was the devil's doing.
I won't even comment because I have nothing nice to say
Okay.
there.
The devil is a lie. That's what I had to say.
Mm,
I needed to say that. I got that off my chest.
America great again is a lie. How about them apples?
Oh no.
But in this situation, there was no satanic influence. Sadly, people do steal because they are hungry. And then this child obviously had a big open heart, and he gave to someone who was in greater need, even though he's an animal. That's exactly what that's a very Christian Jesus-like behavior
a morally
to
good
give,
thing to do.
Yeah, to give even when you have nothing to give, because you know that the other creature or person can do with what you're giving.
Yeah. That's really kind-hearted of him. But in
Makes me sad.
Yeah, there's no way that the devil existed in this scenario. There's
I
nothing
think
that
not.
points to it.
I think not.
Nothing again points to his existence here. Sorry.
Mm.
Scenario 2. Samael Morningstar is a sharply dressed individual who owns a darkly lit grand piano on which he plays heavy metal music every Sunday. Is this person Lucifer in disguise?
How can you play heavy metal on a piano?
Exactly. It's the devil's doing.
That didn't even make any sense.
Yes, it is. You can have a electronic kind of thing going on it. But I mean, it's a grand piano.
It's a grand piano.
But
I think you're confused.
But now, no. But am I confused? But no. Imagine going to a place and hearing that. What does that mean?
You took that right from the scene from the Lucifer show. I'm so tired of you.
Is that where you think that's
Get
from?
away from me.
Is that where you think that's from?
Yes. Good Lord.
No, they didn't have him playing heavy metal music.
They had him playing a piano in a freaking club.
But did he own the club?
I don't know. I don't watch the show.
Oh, but I think that idea was stolen already, though, because that actually was in the Sandman comics.
Lucifer gets around, doesn't he?
Yeah, they stole that Lucifer idea from Sandman.
With this information, no, I'm sorry, I'm not capable of agreeing to him being Lucifer at this moment. And you? That's
some great. You just put up a great point, though. How did he play heavy metal music on a grand piano? But you know what? He could have had a trick, because he probably had like an MP3 player hooked up to a speaker or something.
Yeah,
Maybe he did that.
It's not enough information.
Well, yeah, we don't. It's darkly lit, though. See, that's what keys you in. It's darkly lit, but that makes you not know for sure.
Killing humans and ripping their skin off.
What if he's eating hearts?
Yeah, maybe then I would say, okay, possibly.
So just the heavy metal music from a grand piano on
Not
Sundays, not enough. On the Sunday.
You're a hot mess.
It's a Sunday.
You're a fool.
All right.
Do you believe he was Lucifer?
Nah.
Okay.
I don't think he's in a disguise.
Gotcha.
I think he probably there's something else going on here. I would think there's something suspicious. It's like magical.
If you said, is Al Pacino a Lucifer, I would say maybe. He did a really good job.
All right,
that's in The Devil's Advocate. You guys will see the clip on WokeNFree.com.
That's a movie. Okay.
Hey, there is much truth that is seen in film.
Scenario 3. Dorothy is a teenager that has started speaking 3 languages during the long hours of the night. Her mother is trying to decide, is she a polyglot or has the devil possessed her soul?
Exorcism of Emily Rose. Really?
Why would you say that? This scenario it revealed itself to me.
Nice word, polyglot, too.
They didn't use that in the movie.
I believe they did, actually.
I don't know. I don't think they did.
I believe so. In the trial, when they were going through her death, yes.
Okay.
I believe
Can't believe
so.
you. Can't believe you trying to take away from the scenario.
3 languages during the long hours at night. Again, I always have questions. Did she have any exposure to these languages before she started speaking them?
Not to her mother's language knowledge.
But are there other people that could attest to the fact that maybe
There's no
she learned it in school, her best friend speaks it, right? Like,
yeah, we don't know.
There's not enough information, so I wouldn't automatically think that devil possessed her. I would have to know more. And then also, is she doing other things like levitating? Is her head turning around and spinning? Is she projectile vomiting green stuff? Like, is she really like displaying demon possession as seen in film, or is she just gangster at night? Like, it's not enough. What are your thoughts?
I think that no, because we don't even know what languages she's speaking.
Indeed.
She might not speaking Xhosa, but she might be speaking Italian and Spanish and what else? German.
English?
No, but these are 3 different languages. But look, we don't know what that means. It doesn't mean much.
Gotcha.
Because like you said, you could have learned that somewhere else.
And could have just been watching Exorcism of Emily Rose. Yep.
Yeah, probably.
And just playing that at night. And her mom was freaked out.
Probably. That would have been even worse if her mom got tricked by that. That's pretty pathetic.
That movie's pretty convincing, actually.
But her mom got tricked and thought that was her on the film. I mean, that's pretty bad.
Maybe.
Pretty bad.
We are at that time again. Thank God. It is coming to the end of our 78th episode of Woke and
Free.
Okay.
Oh, did it? Oh, did.
Okay.
Guess who was
Did you
invited
lose
to the
your
episode?
mind? Yes.
No, guess who that was on the episode?
Definitely
After
not
the whole
Satan.
episode, of course. Now it's proven.
That you're a fool?
on
Still a
now.
fool. We started at fool, we ended at fool. Phenomenal. Oh, good
I can't
Lord.
believe you would say that to our guest.
You? Are you now creating new personalities on air? I can't with you, Khalil.
This is crazy.
And you make fun of me for saying my things in English language.
No, I won't.
Please do not ever do that again. Or I'll start signing, and then no one will be able
Because
to
I'm
hear what
speaking
we're
in different
saying.
languages? Come on.
No, because you're clearly not
What?
saying anything.
Yes, I am.
I can just start rolling my R's and really catch you lovely.
Don't do that or our guest might return.
Guys, this was quite the episode of talking about whether the devil is real. And as per usual, will I leave you hanging on what our next episode will be about?
On our next episode, we will be discussing how to decide where to live. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation. And make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please submit a topic for an upcoming episode or share how you feel. And you can do all of that on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That is WokeNFree.com. If you'd like to connect with us on social media, you can easily find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at WokeNFree. And then, of course, if you're interested in being a sponsor for any of our upcoming episodes, hit us up on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do. Share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokeNFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokeNFree is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.